Happy Halloween, everyone! This Halloween, I'm dressing as a Flyers fan to make my girlfriend happy. Today, we're gonna be picking off the forbidden fruit with Submission Audio's Grovebass. So Grovebass is a bass sample library for Native Instruments Contact made by Submission Audio, which is the mastermind Ermin Hamidovic. That was an unintended pun. He's a mastermind. He does a lot of mastering. This is a meticulously sampled bass sample library with a number of different options as far as articulations and humanizing and tones. So let's check it out. All right, so what I have done here is I have split my bass into 3 different tracks just for ease, so I don't have to be automating a bunch of stuff. You could do this all with one track. I just found it to be easiest. So first, let's go over our interface and our options here. So we've got 5 different main tone groups. You've got your DI, you've got clean, you've got overdrive, distortion, and lead. But within all of those, you also have your own mixer with drive, tone, compression, girth, and effects, and a bright switch. On the lead, you have a mid-cut switch. So these are all independent. If I set this like this, and then jump over here, it set itself back, etc., etc., etc. On top of that, we have a number of different articulations, which we will get to in a second. You can set the speed of your alternate picking. You've got a little doom button here, which I actually don't know what the doom button does. So there's joke's on me. You've got a humanize knob, which changes velocity and pitch, I believe, just a bit. And then position, which is actually very cool. You can force, kind of like its own little digital capo here. You can force the bass to play things higher up. So let's take a look at our articulations here. We have finger alternate, finger index, finger middle, ghost, slap, ghost slap, pop, ghost pop, harmonic, hammer on pull off, tapping, and then a trigger for a slide. On top of all of this, you can set which note all of these articulations are, and we will get into kind of the sounds of that in just a bit. You can also tell it to latch or be momentary. Now, right here we have force string. So force B string, force E string, A string, D string, G string. And what that is doing is forcing the note that's being played to being played on whatever string you're forcing it to play on, over here and then over there. And you get all kinds of different tones out of that and stuff. And also for realism, it helps to not be playing a bunch of open strings and stuff. You also have the option to play a bunch of open strings if you like the tone more, because it's a digital instrument. You can do whatever you want. Freedom! So over here we have our bass tuning. You can retune your bass. I guess it kind of goes in with the whole forced string thing with the tuning and that. From there, you have your pitch bend range, and that's that. So let's take a look at what's happening here. Starting off with our distortion. I did some really, really ridiculous riff writing to show off as much as I could the different articulation options. What we've got here is a tap articulation that goes straight into a slide articulation. So the idea is, as you saw me playing it, you're tapping and then sliding, and then with your other hand tapping and sliding. And so we have our tap articulation right here, starts with this note, and then we do a slide trigger, which then, as long as this is being held, it sounds like a slide as opposed to ba 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 ba. And then right here, I've just got a little pitch automation, MIDI pitch automation, and then a slap. Probably, actually, I probably should have had this guy be a pop. Well, so the other thing that's happening here is I am forcing between the E string and the A string. If I weren't doing that, we would be seeing something like this. Because I'm forcing that string, we have much more space to be sliding down the fretboard. So now we're on to this little madness right here. Okay, so we have no forced strings here. I kind of arbitrarily put these notes where they are to sort of simulate what notes you would be like popping and slapping on. So we have our ghost slap, bup, and then we have our ghost, which I think actually is supposed to be like a muted pluck, but what we're doing here is we're pretending it's kind of the slap on the fretboard. So bup, bup, bup. Amazing terminology here. And then into a ghost pop. So bup, 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 bup. And then back over to a ghost slap. And then back over to a ghost. So bup, 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 bup. And that gives us... And if you look at it on the fretboard, pretty cool. Moving on, this is going to be a very similar kind of riff here. You would expect it's a pick, but actually what we're doing here is we're tapping this first note. So tap, ghost slap, fingerboard tap. So det, det, det. Are we seeing that here? Det, det, det. From there, we're jumping over to a pop. So we're popping this string open and then hammering on to that note right there. And then dropping in a little ghost again with the left hand, stopping on the fretboard. And then pretty much the same thing again, popping it open, ghost slapping with the right hand, and then our just a standard slap. This is exceptionally difficult to describe, I've come to learn. Kind of extra detail bit right there where we do a ghost, sort of just as the idea of the note stopping with your left hand. And then this riff repeats, and now we are off over to our overdrive. This is pretty much a repeat of the earlier sort of ideas here. Which is the same thing as earlier. And then this essentially also is the same thing. It looks like I'm forcing a string here at the end. And I think that's because it wanted to change strings for this note. And I wanted it to kind of just be going up that scale. So that is pretty darn cool. So we've got tap, ghost slap into a ghost on the fretboard on the left hand, a ghost pop into a second finger ghost pop if you're, or second finger pop if you're playing this, and then you're hammering on from the open string to that next note, a hit with your left hand to stop it, and then another pop and a ghost slap, so dit, and then a ghost pop, a slap on the left hand, and then a slap on the right hand. And my light just died, so sorry about that. We're continuing on in the dark. This section right here is the same as the last one. I've just switched over to the distortion from the overdrive. Overdrive. And we've got a little volume automation for that bit where everything drops out. Just turning it up a little bit, and then we jump over to our distortion. And so that's that little bit, and now we're into the sort of semi-solo-y chorus on our distortion track. Some slides going on. I think I actually forgot to delete these here. So we got that nice little slidey hammer-on kind of thing going on there. And we're doing some 4 strings there, so we get that nice kind of bassy tone on that bit. A little bit of a sliding, and then we have kind of like a little flourish sort of a bit with some ghost slapping stuff. And now we're getting crazy. We're doing some tapping and some sliding all at the same time. We're forcing a couple of strings. So we got a 2-string tap and a bunch of sliding. And that sounds really, really convincing. From here, we're on to our lead track, and there are all kinds of different tones you can end up doing with your lead track. This is what I ended up doing. Brought up my highs a little bit and my compression and my girth, and then there's sort of a phaser, kind of a chorus effect, which I ended up turning down a good bit. So we've got a little bit of use of that position knob, which is automatable through the plugin. So it's not MIDI automation, which is nice because MIDI automation can get a little temperamental, I have found at least. And we got a little tapping chord. Isn't that wild right there? So we're doing a little bit of forcing strings. Just for that slide, I think. A lot of sliding, some tapping. And then we've got to tap into a slide. So we're tapping and sliding immediately. Yeah, we just went ham right here. The idea I went for here was kind of an almost sweep-picked sort of thing. And then we have that slide at the very end. And then some more tapping for that beautiful little chord. All right, we're moving along here. So full way through, we can watch our fretboard with the automation down below. All right, now we're doing a whole lot of tapping and a bunch of fourth stringing. So tapping and then pulling off. And then doing another tap into another pull off. Tapping those last two notes, and we're forcing a bunch of different strings here. So let's take a look at what's happening. And then that's just a nice big slide right there. And then more slides. So just a bunch of tapping and sliding. And this is the kind of thing that you're very happy to have Mr. Simon Grove do digitally so that you're not ripping your fingers to shreds. Okay, so now we're at our last part here. The idea is we took the melody from just a second ago and we've converted it into a lot of slaps and taps and all that. So something like this. And then we've got a little sweep picking example there, which is a bunch of fourth string. As you can see right there, we're forcing string from the lowest to the highest. And then I figured I'd end it with that cute little slide down, just the bass on its own going, Whew. And that's it. So lots and lots and lots of different articulation options. And you know what? Just for the sake of it, let's see what happens if we get rid of all of that automation there. That just illustrates just how much you can accomplish. Absolutely incredible. All right, so that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you big time for Submission Audio, not only for sending this to me and asking me to do it, but straight up just for making this sample library. This is a game changer, and this is my new favorite bass sample library. What a absolutely William Shatner. My favorite bass sample library. But seriously, thank you very much to Submission Audio for just doing such a great job, and Simon Grove, obviously, for doing a really good job. If you need basically any kind of bass with any sort of articulation or sliding or anything like that, this is it. I'm not aware of anything better than this currently. So hats off, big claps, good job. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, good. I'm Drewsif. You can find my stuff all over the place at It's Drewsif. I got Patreon, I got YouTube memberships, if that is your kind of thing. I also have shirts and presets and albums and all that stuff at drewsif.com/store. Thank you very much. Hugs and high fives. Be safe, be good, be well. That is it for me. I'm gonna go get scary. It's Halloween time. It's Milky Way. I'm gonna eat a Milky Way. I don't know. Good night.